Hello, welcome, boys.
Alan.
Dave?
Taken us a lot to get to this point, hasn't it, so far?
I've got, I'm a busy man, so yeah.
There's 2 gigs a year.
2 gigs a year, you need to wind it down, don't you, mate?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Are you checking if your phone's on silent?
Someone's just ringing me, yeah.
All right. Get him on, mate. Get him on the pod.
Yeah.
Should have answered it, mate. Got him on. 4th guest.
Cousin.
So I always like to start a podcast just by going back to the start with the guest, getting to know a bit about you. So, Orphan Boy all aside, just a bit about yourselves individually.
Smith?
Yeah, Paul Smith. CEO of Orphan Boy. Yeah. Fishmonger. Grimsby traditional
Standard,
yeah. Sell fish.
You've done loads of jobs, haven't you?
Well, what are you in review?
Tell us what jobs you've done.
Take us back before that.
Thailand.
Take us back before that, mate. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Grimsby. Grew up round Fuller Street area and all that.
Yeah, Sydney,
Near the
Sussex.
ground, yeah.
Yeah?
Do you want to know more than that?
Yeah, get into it, mate. Yeah, it's a podcast. We've got all night.
Starting off, always been a fan of Grimsby Town. Love my music. Been in numerous bands with all different characters from Grimsby, like Dutton and that, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, we'll get into all that a bit later on.
Yeah, well, me, I was just born in the 80s, I suppose. Went to... Well, did you go to Lindsay?
Yeah.
Yeah, went to Lindsay School.
Hey, we all did.
Did you?
Represent.
Yeah, so grew up in Cleethorpes. Went to university in Sheffield. After that...
What'd you do at university?
I did English
Yeah.
studies. After that, did a variety of jobs and then was starting a career as a journalist. I was working on the Louth newspaper, and then Orphan Boy kind of took off and we just upped sticks and went to Manchester.
Yeah. What was your first job?
My first ever job, I think it must have been a factory job.
No, that was mine. My dad...
Not even a paper round home?
Oh, yeah, did that.
Yeah.
Paper round then, isn't it?
My dad was like, what do you want to do? And I was like...
Paper round, Dad.
Went to paper round. Went to college, did plumbing, got in a scrap with this kid, and you ever seen them big Yorkshire fitting bars?
No.
Like, pretty similar to that.
Yeah.
On the table, whacked me on the shoulder, it dislocated my shoulder, so...
This is what
That ended
a screwdriver.
Did you have to wind the plumbing down after that?
No, I was just like, that was it, straight on the docks. Went to Terry Chapman's, hated it, but it was pay, so...
Yeah, my first job was paper boy, but then I finished school, like the day I finished school, my parents was like, the pressure's on. You got to get a job. And I was off to Franklin in the September, but I went to staff force and they just threw me in at Young's. And which one was it? Not Marsden Road. What's the one behind that?
Umberston Road, is it?
No, not Umberston Road. The one on the dock. South Quay.
South Quay, yeah.
I went there. Oh my God.
Which one was it? Was it Young's or Blue Cross?
It was Young's. It was South Quay, the one at the back.
Oh, yeah.
It was terrible, mate. Honestly, got onto the factory floor and there was like picking people out and people got sent home and that. Got sent home on my first day. I thought, is this my life now? You know what I mean? And then when you did get to stay, it was a load of shit as well.
I think everyone did factory jobs back in there, didn't they?
Can't avoid it round here, can you?
Yeah, it's just the easiest job to get, wasn't it? And I always remember
it's like the army, isn't it? It's like that Grimsby's version of the army, isn't it?
It's hard as well when you leave school to do a job because I just found it so monotonous and getting in at like 6 a.m. and after like 2 hours I'd be like, what time is it? And I'd always be with someone on the line and say, how long have you been working? He'd be like, 22 years. And just they're just not phased at all by it. Do you know what I mean? And I just think I couldn't do it. I just needed to get out really and do something. So that my main thing I was driven to do was music, especially like in my early 20s. So even like when I started the career as a journalist, it was just music was just at the front of my mind all the time. And we Orphan Boy got together at I think it was like 2005 early. We was like rehearsing at the Spider's Web. I think we'd done like 3 or 4 gigs, and straight away there's a momentum to it. And I just said, right, I want to go get out of Grimsby. I mean, most bands do that and go to London. We chose to go to Manchester, didn't we?
Yeah.
Which I don't regret because I love Manchester, and I think London is so big and so many people trying to do that you can easily get overlooked there. Whereas we made a few waves in Manchester, and
It was different back then, though, wasn't it? It was like MySpace was only really kicking off.
Yeah.
You know, like now you've got to be a social media marketing guru as well as a musician nowadays. Whereas back then it was about putting out records and doing gigs, wasn't it, and building a fan base.
What's they called? The Red Summits and
the Redcoats.
Redcoats, yeah, and
Butlins.
Yeah, but at the time of MySpace, it's like
Redcoats or the Red Wings or something.
Red Wings, yeah. And MySpace was like, however many followers you had on it, labels took an interest to that rather than the music.
Yeah.
But it's still the same now, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's just even worse. So now,
It's just the easiest way to make some kind of judgment on a band is what's the numbers rather than spending 20 minutes listening to the music.
Yeah.
So it's just that's the way it has been as long as I can remember. Really.
Yeah.
I remember MySpace coming along. I remember my cousin telling me about it. She's younger and she's like, "You need to check out this thing called MySpace." Like, oh, whatever. Do you know what I mean? You don't realise what it's going to become. And I think that's been the same with every single piece of technology that's exploded. Like, I remember Spotify was around for years and people were telling me, "Oh, you're on Spotify." I was like, "What's that?" And it's only like 2015 or something I actually got around to getting my head around it. Whereas I think if we'd have been on the ball with that so much earlier, and you knew what it was going to be. Imagine what you could do if you kind of knew where the technology was going to go.
God, there was the LimeWire as well, wasn't there, where you could just download... Yeah.
Just torrent people's music.
Yeah, just nicking everyone else's song.
You download an album and then you'd open the file and it's a porno, wouldn't you? Like, what the fuck? Download like a U2 album and it's like Bono getting smashed or something. Just like, what?
What was that thing, Meat Spin, where he fucking... you spin me right round. Someone sent me it when I was at work once, and it was like an email. I sent an email and I clicked. I was like, Meat Spin, and I clicked on it. Honest to God, I went absolutely fucking bright red, and it goes from corner to corner.
How many spins did you get through?
About 1,000. I didn't know how to turn the computer. Everyone was looking. I was like, "What's?"
How we got talking about Meat Spin within the first 5 minutes?
For those listening, I'll link it below.
You can cross that one off your notes now. Meat Spin.
Yeah, Meat Spin, nice one. So, how did you both start getting into playing instruments? You know, was that just through your love of music, or?
Yeah, mine was Oasis. Honestly, I've always loved like my music, band music and stuff like that. But that phenomenon of Oasis at that time,
not even just at that time. Like for me, you know, I'm younger than you guys.
Yeah.
But for me, growing up, like I wanted to be Oasis. It was like my whole identity.
Yeah.
Like at school, when I first started playing guitar and got into music, properly got into music.
Yeah.
Just it was your entire identity, wasn't it? You base your dress sense on them, you know.
It's
blur as shit. Like,
so that's how I got into it, really.
I
mean, I was interested in music, but it wasn't till Oasis came along that it just really it was like everything I thought about. And then I got an acoustic guitar, learned all the chords, because it's just, the music's so accessible, not just to listen to, but to play as well.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like a gateway band, isn't it? Like from Oasis.
It's easy one, yeah.
Also, they'd always talk about the bands they were interested in, so that had opened those doors. You know, a few months later, you'd be listening to the Stone Roses or the Jam or the Beatles, and then they'd take you down some other routes, and that's it. You're on your way then. Yeah. And the funny thing is, like my son who's 16 now, he's just going through the same process now of Oasis, exactly the same as I did. So, what Oasis have, I don't know. Got a lot to answer for, I suppose, in a good way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Their music has had such an impact on the culture, even now, even all these years later.
Inspiring literally generations.
Like the hairdos, the way people dressed. You know, you go to footy matches and everyone was swaggering around. Do you know what I mean? Fucking hell, they've made a right imprint on everything.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we first met, though? Do you remember? Speaking of Oasis.
What, meeting Oasis?
Well, no, I never met.
Oh, right. I thought you said.
Remember when me and you first met? Do you remember who it was?
Your back garden?
No. Remember Dave Sheriff's house?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When I first got into the guitar, I was learning Oasis chords. So it's like all the Oasis songs. But there's a guy called Dave Sheriff, who's my dad's friend.
And lived across the road from me.
Lived across the road from Smithy, but I didn't know Smithy at the time. So
how old was you?
I would have been I don't know, 15. Smith would have been about 31.
I was in my 40s.
But yeah, I just remember going, because he'd play the blues, like finger picking blues, Dave Sheriff. So I'd go around and like learn a bit off him, and he'd show me some things. And then just one day, there's just this bloke there with a massive smile on his face, like looked like the most cheerful bloke ever. And it was like, oh, this is Paul Smith. He's like, how you doing, mate? All right. Yeah. And then I just remember.
Yeah, he's at that time, me and John McCall, don't we think, he had a drum kit. I was like, put it in my dad's shed, we can have a jam. Yeah. And what Dave Sheriff had taught me, he was trying to teach me finger picking, but I've not technical enough. I just wanted to learn chords, do Oasis. And me and John McCall started this like little band called Sunday Lemon Chimes. I think it was that. We just used to like jam. But then Sheriff and Byron used to be stoned and pissed. They used to wear us jamming in the shed and used to come over. And they'd be like, fucking hell, be playing the Doors for fucking like, just non-stop from the same song for about half an hour. I was too like, fuck, it's his age. But yeah, your memory's better than mine, man. I can't, you know, things like that. I can't. Yeah.
Well, there's lots of stuff I've forgotten that, you know. I just, it's good for certain things. You know, other things like remembering family members' birthdays and stuff like that. It's terrible, that, do you know what I mean?
So from 15 when you picked up the guitar, how old was you when you started, you know, gigging, so to say? Was Orphan Boy the first band you went out and gigged, was it? Or?
No, we've both been in bands before that.
All right,
we had a band together before Orphan Boy called The Infidels.
The Infidels,
been around about 2003. This is like post-Strokes. And everyone was talking about the Strokes and the Libertines, and that kind of new wave of indie music was kicking off. And then I joined a band called The Gents.
That was with Dutton on it back in the day,
Granty and Danny Macker. Yeah. And then you went solo with Orphan Boy, didn't you? Well, you set it up as a solo project. My
stem of being in bands started, like I say, that was John McCall. And then it went from me, Chrissy Day, and his brother Jamie. We used to jam every Sunday at Chrissy's house. Yeah. And we wrote some fucking right mad punk songs. And then after that, I think, what did I do? Oh, yeah, Red Rose and the Butterstones. Yeah. So that was a band with Dutton, Butsy, Bestie, Swallow, and Lummy. Yeah, Lummy was like keyboard player in it. And that was good because we had like we always used to hang around at Butsy's flat.
Whose flat?
It's like called Craig Butters. He
lived
down, sorry, mate. Yeah, he lived down.
I had some of him, but
he lived down Blunder Lave. And his flat was just like, we used to get absolutely battered in there.
Yeah.
But, and then after that, Infidels, and then I went on my own as Orphan Boy with a drum machine.
With a drum machine?
It was Mick Jones's band, very first gig I ever did.
Mick Jones from The Clash.
Yeah.
He had a band called Carbon Silicon, and they was playing at the Beachcombers. There was 2 stages, the main room, the side room. He was on with the gents in the main room. Yeah. I can always remember, honestly, I didn't want to do it. And this lass I was going out with at the time, she was like, just get in there and do it. I was like, nah. Steve Stanley come outside and he's like...
Steve Stanley.
He went, come on, you're on in 10 minutes. I was like, fucking hell.
You must not have sold enough tickets.
Yeah, you're on first. I shit myself. I can't remember what I did, but as I looked in the distance, I just see this figure of Mick Jones stood there, big fucking long-looking skeleton in a Mac. And I just went to pieces. And then afterwards, he come up to me, he went, yeah, son. He went, get yourself a fucking band together. He went, don't fuck them drum machines off. And he just took my guitar. I thought, where's he going with that? And he come back down and he'd signed my guitar. And I fucking hell.
I'd have been fuming, mate. If someone had took my guitar and signed it, like, you bastard.
It was a fucking cheap one anyway. But yeah. And then from there...
I think your second gig was at the Winter Gardens, wasn't it? And then you and Chris.
Me and Chrissy Day, and it's supporting Selector.
Yeah.
And, and fucking hell, Chrissy Day just absolutely froze. He went, I don't think I can do it. And I went, you fucking kidding me, aren't you?
He's playing guitar though, Chris. He
was he?
Yeah.
How old was you at this point then?
Useless with probably...
I think he's about mid-20s then.
No, I wasn't. I was mid-20s when we went to Manchester.
Was you?
Yeah. I'd have been sort of like...
Well, that was not long before that, though, wasn't it? Because this was like 2005.
I'd have been probably 20, I reckon. 1920.
I think he's a bit older than that. But
you're trying to say a picture. I'm fucking mega old. I'm only 4 years older than you. So yeah. So anyway,
just grab that mic a bit closer, would you?
Yeah. So then me and Chrissy Day started like doing this like thing. And we got playing, and I said, "Oh, Chris, come on, go, just do it." And he was like, "I can't do the backing vocals." I went, "Fucking hell!" I went, "All right, just play, we'll just do it." And as we was playing, there was all these like fucking kids sort of the front, and I was like, "You fucking shit! You're like the Proclaimers." And that was it. I was like,
"He's wearing these leather jackets, weren't you?"
T-bird jackets. Yeah, we both had leather jackets on, Strokes jackets, fucking cuts in the jeans and all that. And after that, I was like, "Fucking hell, this is shit." And then. Yeah, then it went from there, didn't it? We was jamming in the Spiders, and then you come along.
Yeah. And then we was a 3-piece, and then we did a gig, put our own gig on at the Spiders Web, and it was rammed
Up the racket.
Yeah, up the racket. Yeah. For some reason, I don't know if you remember this, but I remember I was having a technical issue in the middle of the gig, and you just kind of solved it. But you got on, you played the theme tune from Only Fools and Horses. And sang it in a Hooky Street. Just played that like, while we were fixing the amp.
That's a great filler song.
Yeah, as from that, you came into rehearsal, and he was like, "Oh, that's I could really add to this band basically, and should we have a jam?" I was like, "Fucking hell!" Playing it, Cole was like, "Yeah." We knew how good of a musician he was, and fucking me and Chris was like, "Oh, buzzing."
yeah.
And then we started these little nights up called Spiders Web was sort of like a little home.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So
you used to do bits at Casablanca as well, didn't you?
We did a few years later, yeah. We did 3 or 4 gigs there. I mean,
no one does out there anymore, do they?
Room. Is it still open?
It's still open, yeah.
It's still going, yeah.
That's at the High Energy night.
Well, one of those gigs is where we met Sam Simmons, actually, because we got his band on the Accord. He would have been about 18 at the time.
The Accord, yeah.
Gave him a support slot. And
the original Accord lineup was brilliant.
Yeah.
Sam, Josh P, Taz and Blakey.
Yeah,
great lineup, wasn't it?
Fucking brilliant band.
I love their first album as well, which I don't think exists online or anything.
Yeah.
I've probably got it somewhere.
I've got a copy.
Yeah, I was going to say, if I dig through my CDs, I probably have got it somewhere. It was an ashtray, wasn't it? It was like a close-up
I think
picture.
I've just got like a copied version of it.
Oh, you've not got the printable.
No.
You've not got
I remember
the
doing an album
inkjet
launch in
sleeve,
his
mate.
back garden and just giving loads of free copies.
Doing an album launch in his garden.
Yeah, it was good.
Nice one. Still doing him in his garden now, I've heard. So.
I think he's upgraded a bit now, and is he doing Central Hall for his single?
It's for his album launch. Yeah, he's got an album launch. I want to say 24th of May.
Yeah,
but I might be wrong.
16.
I'll throw that out there.
Don't we know? Yeah, I can remember him being at 90s once. I could any song.
Yeah,
and he was playing it. I was like, "Fucking how'd you have that sort of like
jukebox, isn't he?
It's fucking brilliant."
Yeah, he's playing my wedding.
So
yeah,
brilliant.
So when Orphan Boy got together, was it just love for the music? Did you get together thinking we're going to make a concerted effort to really try and make it as a band?
Yeah, definitely.
You did, yeah.
We took it really seriously.
So that was there from the beginning, from the off.
Absolutely,
nice one.
After we see sort of like the sort of like gigs in like locally taking off, we was like fucking hell, and Rob was like, he had this incentive. He was like, right, we've got to move out of town. We can't just do it. If you want to be serious, move out of town. So, like say we said earlier on, chose Manchester. Rob did the first move, and then you was getting a bit sort of like worried about, are you two doing it or what? Is that what happened?
Yeah. I remember going over just and crashing on my mate's floor in Longsight for about a week, and then every day just walking to the city centre to try and find a job. Eventually getting one, and then like got a flat. And then my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, Leanne, she moved over. And then you two moved over. Mm-hmm. We all lived in West Didsbury.
Yeah.
And very, very quickly just kind of like met a lot of people on the scene. And you were really good at just networking and meeting people. And just very quickly, just kind of didn't take us long really to kind of make an impression on people and start getting good gigs and start building up a little fan base there. I think it was the end of that year, 2005, where you met Mike Concrete at
Music Box.
Yeah, and then he come along in 2006, come to watch us rehearse, offered us an independent record deal, and we signed that. I think it was March time. 2006.
Smoking Ban had just come in because we was in the. We had sort of like Mike Concrete was like, get all your mates. We're going to the Oyster Bar. Is it the
Sinclair's Oyster Bar.
Oyster Bar.
It's a great little pub in
literally
the
the Smoking Ban had just come into force, and it was all like, it was 20 of us there, weren't there? and it was brilliant. We did like the signing in front of, made it a really good sort of thing, and everyone was just cracking fags, so this bouncer was going berserk. No, put him out. It's getting lobbed out of it, but it's brilliant.
Well, this is the time when it's still possible to get a major label record deal as an indie band, and so it was a bit like, should we go independent or should we hang on and see if we can get a major deal? Obviously, if you got a major record label behind you, it opened loads of doors for you, and that was the route to big success. But
there was a taste for it at the time as well, wasn't there, for your genre of music?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was just coming to the end of that. It was entering like the landfill indie era, where it was starting to become less fashionable. But bands were getting signed, especially bands from Manchester, as opposed to bands from Grimsby.
Yeah.
But we chose to go independent. We just liked Mike and Sarah. They were, that we felt like they believed in us.
Yeah.
And I don't regret to this day doing that, because I just think, because we had a small label behind us, we were always doing things. We were always active. We always had, ball was always in our court. We could always choose what we were going to do. And we had people giving us a bit of money and a bit of advice and support. Yeah. Whereas opposed to a lot of bands that got picked up by bigger labels, only a small percentage of those were actually pushed. The rest were just kind of kept on a shelf.
Yeah.
And just kind of...
Just in case.
Just kind of...
Well, that's what happened to the Libertines, wasn't it? They got picked up by Rough Trade.
Yeah.
And they got shelved.
Yeah.
And then when Strokes just blew up overnight in the UK, Rough Trade looked at their roster and was like, oh, we've got our own answer to it already. Sometimes the market decides your fate, doesn't it? Or another band becoming current decides your fate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't have that kind of agency. Like, you don't have that control yourself. Whereas we were just like, the label were going to prepare to try and grow with us, and we were just going to just give it 100%.
Yeah.
Just put our own gigs on, do as many gigs as we could around the UK, just hassle people, trying to get better gigs, get on festivals, get support slots. And was just chipping away for ages. It was always difficult because it's all about contacts, isn't it? And if you don't have those contacts, you really have to hustle hard to get the smallest.
But even just finding a gatekeeper for a concert tour promoter or something like that can be a fucking nightmare, can't it? It really can.
I mean, what we did get Glastonbury, of course, because Mike had a small stage at Glastonbury, we got to play that a few times.
I think when we first moved to Manchester, though, it was like it was a bit of a, when you've been pigeonholed in Grimsby, then you go to Manchester, it's like massive wide open space. You're like, fucking hell, this is huge. And I can remember our very first time we went as a band to Birkeller and watched these bands, and it's very clicky, very scenestery, and there was always like kids with like bouffant hairdos and hairspray, mantle, and then
we just didn't fit in.
Really, we didn't fit in. We didn't, and then we sort of like started. People was warming to us slowly. Then we ended up like, going to last people to leave the parties, and it was like, fucking hell, these are not like pretty wild. Like the late rooms, remember that? And Liam Frey and they was like, oh, fucking hell, it's the Rogues, Never used to go out scrapping around like that, but that's how they looked at us. Looked at us like quite scally.
Did you think? Obviously, you had that working class aura about you, didn't you? To your style, your music, everything. Do you think that hindered you when you first got to Manchester? You was trying to make contacts, or do you think?
I think.
Do you think leaning into that it helped you? It kind of made you stand out in a sense.
I don't feel like me personally. I don't feel like I did lean into it. I feel like I was trying to get away from it a little bit.
Yeah.
I do feel like it definitely helps you. No, I think it hinders you if you're from a working class background, because most of the people that are the gatekeepers are from a more of a upper middle class background.
Yeah.
And it's only natural that they're gonna find it harder to connect with people who are from a different walk of life. I think it's just human nature, isn't it? Yeah. So that's why I think doors open more easily for the people who are from a similar background. That's why you get a lot of famous, successful artists are from like art school and from wealthy families. Also, it gives you that kind of, you've got that freedom to maybe take a few years out of your life and try and not have to worry about whether...
Not that, but just having,
yeah.
Even just that immediate sort of like who you go to for guidance, i.e. your parents, My parents didn't know the first fucking thing about business, and they still don't. They didn't know the first thing about anything, in that regard. In terms of promoting music and becoming successful as a musician, like when you are from these wealthy backgrounds, like everyone around you is successful, that breeds success, doesn't it?
Yeah,
when you're in them environments,
I was like, I lost my train of thought. We was on about that. Well, whereas we was doing it as in like what we've been used to, work. a lot of bands was just, like you said, there was like fucking, there was just doing it solely. That was all there was doing, just the band.
Yeah.
How they're
jobs.
surviving,
Yeah.
I don't know. But we was doing
9 to 5 jobs.
9 to 5 jobs to go into London in a Fiesta, getting back at like 4 or 5 in the morning and go at 7:30, going to, do a 9 to 5 job sort of thing.
It was that aspect of it was
yeah,
cool,
and I think
do you know what I mean?
with the difference of that is, like you say, you've got your city bands, and then you've got sort of like a work, like Grimsby, we've just been used to working and getting on with it sort of thing. So I think in a way probably that didn't favour us, where we weren't as committed, like where you see these bands.
We weren't able to just. I mean, we did a lot of gigs around the UK and a few outside the UK as well, but we just weren't able to commit to like, we're going to drop everything and go on a 30-day tour. Yeah. Like some bands would have been in that position, like especially younger bands are more in that position. We was mid-20s at this point, so it's that age where you have got bills to pay, and
well, you still got that. Even though you've gone to the city and you're trying to make it, you still got that working class mentality, haven't you?
Yeah.
Like, it's like as long as your bills are paid, you can do whatever you want after that, can't you?
Well, we was living like real hand to mouth. Do you know what I mean? Like, we was doing like call centre jobs. I mean, we just wanted when we got there, we all just wanted like the easiest job we could get.
Yeah.
Basically, that just pay our bills and allow us to concentrate on the music after we finish work. We didn't want a career that was going to consume all of our time and energy. I remember going for a job at there's just loads of sales jobs going on. Do you know what I mean? And I remember going for a job in Manchester, and the guy got everyone in the room who was applying, and he gave this big speech about, we're not going to be normal people, we're going to be abnormal, we're going to make millions of pounds, you're going to work loads of hours, you're going to do all this. And then afterwards he said, now, is there anyone in this room that doesn't want to be part of that journey? And I just put my hand up. I said, I don't want that kind of job. I thought this was like a call centre job, I'm sorry. Yeah. And he said, thank you very much for being honest. And that was the end of that.
Imagine what would have happened if you were just, if you didn't have the bottle to say, not me.
Just getting sucked into it.
Well, yeah. But this is what I mean. We had a really clear idea about what we were going to do for the next 3 or 4 years. We were going to give it our all.
Yeah. But work at the same time.
Well, we had to do that, didn't we? And we didn't have we weren't going to be able to live off the dole.
In flats, yeah.
So if we'd have been from Manchester, we might have lived at our parents' houses for a few years, but we didn't have that option either. We had to just work.
That basement flat, it's absolutely disgusting.
Tell me more.
Yeah, it's just there was this guy called I can't remember his name, Kamal. I think he was called Kamal or something like that. Yeah, he was like, fuck. Yeah, and we got in there and absolutely reeked to damp. No windows or out like that. But it was like, fucking hell, this is us.
Is this the Lancaster Road flat?
Lancaster Road one. Where it was like
the first bit as soon as you came in was like a bunker type
room.
With no carpet, just concrete walls.
We had the control of every single flat. I'm talking to probably about 50 flats. We had the control of every single flat's power.
Oh no!
Wow, and there was one
you
time.
Sleeping next to the mains.
We had a party, right, and it was about 11 and the next day, and I was like, fuck, Manton was in the fucking control room just going, switch that one on, and it's boom, boom, boom at the door. Fuck, this bloke just come flying through. He went, okay, switching my fucking power off. I'm like, what? Room just everyone just flamed out. Like, what are you on about? He's like, I'm trying to cook a fucking chicken. It was just bedlam, but it's just crackers. I had a problem with something in the. I think it was in my bedroom or something like that, and he'd come out. Don't worry about it. I'll send someone round while you're at work. I was like, all right. And I come home and I had a dartboard in my bedroom. I come home and see 2 Scousers just playing darts in my bedroom. I went, what are you doing? It's like, oh, fucking hell, yeah, here you are, mate. Yeah, we just wanted to go through it all. I was like, fucking hell.
Doing some work in your
there was just, I don't know where it was.
Just 2 scallions.
Screwdriver between them. But no, it was good. We used to like it because it was a bit of a party flat, so everyone could sort of like go back there. There was, do what you want. In the basement, no one can hear you. But yeah, it gets a time when you think, it stinks.
So you can only do that for a few years, I suppose. You start to get tired of it, don't you?
Yeah,
it's draining, isn't it?
Yeah.
So how long after the band got together did you start recording Shop Local?
We recorded that in 2007.
Chris Snow,
at Noisebox Studios. But we'd already had a lot of the songs written. I mean, some of the songs like, we still play some of the songs that we did in our very first gig. Do you know what I mean? Like Satellites and Orphan Boy, and Mr. Stevens was on there. And then the song that eventually became Black and White for You, we did that as a different version, didn't we?
Yeah, what was it called?
Lovebirds.
Lovebirds, yeah. Crazy Daisy Town, what are you, Rick?
I have no memory of that. Our first single was Trophies of Love, and that did pretty well, to be honest. Like, that was end of 2006, and Steve Lamacq was like the main DJ. This is like the work that it's. If you want to get on any show, it's his show. Yeah. Radio 1 on a Wednesday night, whatever it was. And I just remember release week, it got on Steve Lamacq. I didn't listen to it, but people were telling me about it. Like, and then I remember the night after, I just had Radio 1 on about 6 o'clock. Just wonder if will he play it again? It just came on and it was in the flat, and then he gave it a big spiel afterwards about how much he liked it and what a great song it was. And that at that point, like my Mrs. Leanne turned to me and went, she couldn't believe it. She's like, "You're going to make it," and I was like, "Yeah, maybe we are." Do you know what I mean? Like, because everything was just, this was our first single, and we'd started to get a fan base together. Things were really bubbling. There was a good scene in Manchester that we was a part of, and it felt really exciting. And then he didn't really play us that much after that, did he? He did play us on and off, but it never really like.
Good effort though, wasn't it?
I tell you what, I can remember we were supporting Pete Doherty at Rhythm Factory in London.
No, that wasn't the Pete Doherty gig. He came to watch us when we played there. He turned up.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then we had the interview.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, when he came up and he was like, "Hello, boys. How you doing? Yeah, come to see you. Yeah, you're on my show tomorrow." This sounds like buzzing.
I feel like we had an interview on his show, and I feel like we didn't do a very good interview.
No, we didn't. We froze. We were just on about like head jogs and stuff like that, and he was like probably thinking
head jogs.
Yeah, I can always remember it. I can always remember the head jogs getting mentioned. He was like, and he looked at us like that as though to say, "The fuck's head jogs got to do with whatever?"
He was panicking. He was at peak of addiction, thinking, "Who the fuck are these weirdos?"
I feel like that like we had a foot in the door then. Maybe we blew it a little bit with that interview. But that was like a first interview. We just didn't have any practice, not thought about it. We just went to London, did a gig, and let's go do an interview. I feel like...
It was a bit rough as well, wasn't we? So that didn't help.
Usually, just always hungover, do you know what I mean? And I feel like, that was maybe a missed opportunity. But after that, we got support from John Kennedy, who was quite a big DJ. He played some Frontier and Alderley Edge quite a lot. Eventually, we started to get in with the Enemy, and they'd start to write about us and review our albums.
Was that woman? I think she's died now. I can't remember.
Annie, is it not? What's her name? I know you mean the DJ.
Really good she was. Yeah, she
years ago, wasn't it?
Quite a bit. Yeah,
I can't remember her name. Nightingale, was it?
Yeah. She was like really into us.
So we was getting quite a lot of radio play for an independent band, and it just kind of bubbled along like. We got to that point with Steve Lamacq where it was simmering and it's going to boil over and we're going to blow any minute. It just kept simmering and simmering and simmering, and then eventually you start to think maybe it's not going to happen. Yeah. And when we put out the second album, Passion, Pain and Loyalty,
what year was that?
This was 2010.
2010.
And we thought we had a really strong batch of songs. Like we thought the first album was quite punky, a bit experimental, but this one
we
was
dropped it to sort of like because I can remember saying to you when I was like, Rob, I think. Rather than, because Shop Local, to me, when I listen to it, I think really raw. We did it live.
You recorded the album live?
Yeah, as opposed to do it to
a click. So you all played in the room at the same time, tracking it, and then it just got mixed and mastered?
We overdubbed a lot more than that. But basically, we didn't do it to a click, so it wasn't all like programmed and moved it around. We just made it hard for the producer, really. We didn't know about the process. We just went, we want to do it this way. This is how we work.
And how? And where did you do that? Sorry,
that was Noisebox Studios.
Noisebox, is that in Manchester? Is it?
That's Manchester. It's still there. I think the guy that run it,
Chris.
Steve.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Yeah. What was we on about?
Well,
just getting into Passion, Pain and Loyalty.
So we come to the sort of like agreement. I said, look. It sounded a lot better as an album and more fuller if Rob was just the songwriter, because I think when I listened to Shop Local, I was like saying it's raw, but there's separation of like me.
It sounded like two or three different bands a lot.
Yeah. There was no sort of like stability of like, oh yeah, this is, you know, when you listen to a lot of bands,
it wasn't like an album that had been written start to finish.
Yeah,
it wasn't a piece of music in that sense.
It was just songs, what, you know, like, oh, I've got a song, you know, like this kind of thing, and it would just collaborated them all together. Whereas Passion, Pain, Loyalty was, like you say, it's what. Well,
I remember like we took a bit of time after.
Sorry,
pop it.
Yeah, that's fine, mate.
After Shop Local, we went away and got a synth, didn't we?
Yeah,
because we were like. We felt like the guitar thing was coming to an end. Like people were losing. People were a bit like sneery about it in the press. Like, oh, there's another indie band kind of thing. So we felt like we need to do something different. So we got a synth. We couldn't play it, but we figured it. You know, figured something out with it. And we had a lot of dancey stuff, didn't we? Like Shapes and another one of yours, Animals, and just it was seemed to be going in two directions. So like a dancey direction, which we could have gone in, and then like more of a songwriter direction with more anthemic sound. Yeah. We just kind of chose that route in the end. And we got a lot of good songs out of that. That's like Letter for Annie and Pop Song and
Pop Song's a great track. Frontier. It's one of your biggest songs, isn't it? I'd say one of your crowd favourites.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think
when we put that out, I really thought this is the one. People are going to have to. This is, do you know what I mean? They can't argue with that. And then it came out, and it was just like nothing happened. Like no one was. It wasn't getting a lot of play. It wasn't getting a lot of press, and it just things just kept carrying on as they were. Do you know what I mean? And then I started to think maybe it's not going to happen at that point. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. You do start to lose heart a little bit.
Yeah, especially. Like the grind that you put into it to even putting out one song, do you know? It's a grind, isn't it? From start to finish, from writing it to performing it to recording it to releasing it.
It's
the money, time, effort, the emails you've sent out, all the bullshit that comes with it.
Like you said earlier, so much of what you do now is like it's 5% creative and 95% admin.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're forced to be a content manager, social media manager. Yeah. It's ridiculous, but everyone's at it, so it's like you either get involved with it or you're going to miss out, aren't you?
True.
Going back to Pop Song, what was the inspiration behind that? I think I get what the song's about in a sense, but what was the inspiration? Was there anything going on with the band at the time that kind of inspired the meaning behind that?
What we were talking about earlier with the feeling a little bit like the industry was very upper middle class, and we weren't, so we just felt like they were never going to embrace us.
Did Pop Song? I've always had this in my head that Pop Song was kind of like a little bit based on that on them two lads from Virgin who came to it. And this was absolutely I couldn't get my head around them. There was these two lads, right? Their uncle worked at Virgin. Was it Virgin?
Yeah.
And they came down to Manchester.
Was it Uncle Reg?
Yeah, Mr. Branson. And they came down to Manchester to watch the Heartbreaks, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And anyway,
fucking hell, the Heartbreaks. I've not heard that name in years.
Yeah, they were a great band. Yeah. They were younger than us and a bit, like better looking than that, and just a bit more.
Was it from Morecambe?
Yeah.
But they had like the singer did work with Burberry and that. They had that whole modelling, pretty boy.
Runs I think it's like he's running
a magazine now, doesn't he? Yeah.
Oh,
Paul McCartney and things like that. Yeah.
But getting back onto that, there was these two young lads, like suave looking. And you couldn't get a conversation out of them about music because all there was there for was just like they'd been sent by their uncle, and all there was there was like, oh yeah, I work for Virgin, trying to get the role basically, and you're trying to spark conversation, and they never had no background.
Well, I remember having a chat with a couple of them, so I don't want to I'm not trying to dehumanise or anything like that. They were nice lads, but I just what I was thinking at the time was like. The world we come from there's millions of people, and if you can connect with that world, that working class world, you can, potentially make a lot of money, like Oasis did. That's why Oasis exploded so much, because there wasn't really many working class bands like that. So when one comes along that connects with lots of people, it just kind of cleans up in a way. Whereas I felt like labels were missing a trick by being quite insular and just being quite cronyist about who they were going to sign and who they were going to open the doors.
A lot of it was through the NME. If the NME championed a band in the magazine, everyone dived on them. Do you know what I mean? Everyone wanted to know them. You know, it's like...
I just felt if they had a bit of vision and maybe just thought, like, maybe this music could achieve something and maybe give bands like us a bit of a chance. Or maybe they just didn't like us, I don't know. Maybe that was it.
There is always that lurking in the shadows, isn't there? But no, it's almost like, but what's better? Was it better then than it is now? Because at least then you was getting somewhere on the merit of your music,
do you know,
and not the merit of your following on social media.
I think
so. Is it better then? Do you know?
I think my theory on that is like now people are independently just doing stuff on their own. You don't need these labels. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of artists like that. JK is from. He's massive. You know, he's not got his own label. He just runs it all himself. And he does really well out of it.
Who's that?
He's like called JK. He's from Birmingham, and he's got like it's kind of like a bit drill kind of thing.
Oh, right, okay.
It's not my bag, but his story's really good. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that kind of thing, you know, there's a lot of artists, but they're not needing these labels, you know, because labels, they tend to chew, they just take your money off you, chew you up and then, like, you know, spit you out. So if you own, like now, you've got that opportunity to do it. Whereas back then, I don't think that, like, the internet and that one.
Well, there's another thing I wish we'd done. I wish back then that we'd learned how to record ourselves. Like we can do that now. Yeah. It just would have opened up so many more. We just got stuff done so much more quickly, rather than having to pay for studio time. You know, Mike was shelling out for studio time and then wait for you'd go in the studio, you'd have like 2 days in there, and then you go away and you come back and you wait for it to get sent to you, listen to it, you send an email back saying, what about, can we try this, can we try that? And it's just such a long process.
See, I love that. I love that process, though.
I love it, but now we can do it ourselves, like you know, with our own...
Yeah, don't get me wrong, like, with Healer, we could do it ourselves, but we just wouldn't, you know? Because we romanticise over the idea of, like, cherry-picking the studio we want to go to.
Yeah.
You know, chatting to the producer, getting a vibe from them, that like initial discussion, or what do you think to this, and banding ideas back and forth, and then you build up that buzz to get in there, and then you're all there for like I love that. For me, it's part of the whole, you know, musical process. That's one of my favourite.
The journey, innit, of it. It's like, but as in like now, like what you're doing is the aspect that you can just go straight into Central Hall and record. Yeah. Whereas, it's the software of like you've.
I think that's what a lot of artists are doing as well. So,
it's not uncommon.
You're at a little bit of a disadvantage because you're not as productive as you could be. But I get it. I mean, you can't beat the expertise of a good producer as well. If you know, they're probably going to do a better job than the band is at recording themselves. So,
we went to that one in Gavin Monaghan in Wolverhampton. That's the first time we've ever sort of like. Well, it's the first time I've ever witnessed sort of like doing. We was in there in and out really quick, I thought, and you just do like 3 takes of everything. Yeah, that's it. And it was you could put everything into place, like auto tune your voice and you know, that kind of thing, wasn't it? And that's the first time ever recorded and sort of like. Wow, that, you know, technology's advanced now. Sort of
you don't have to actually be good singing. Good, you know what I mean? You can tune the voice for you. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
It's insane.
I didn't realise you could do that.
Because there was one. What song did we record with him? And
well, there's one song, Remember, that. Yeah, I still don't like.
And you can actually hear the oh, do you make me remember?
Auto tune's fun, isn't it? We did some record, you know, Rob Diston.
Yeah.
Did some recording with Rob Diston in our old band, and me and Matt Vesey was producing one of the songs one night.
Matt Vesey's a good kid, isn't
he? Great guy. Yeah, excellent musician as well, and really phenomenal producer as well. Some of the stuff he could do is unbelievable. But we was mixing this song, and we like moved the syllable, like pitched it a couple of octaves up. So it was like, oh, and we played it to Rob one night, and he was like, just go back a bit. What was that? Go back a bit. You know, like he couldn't comprehend it because it sounded so natural, but he couldn't comprehend it because he knew we would not have done it. You know, it's like his voice had broke. Good fun. But so, Passion, Pain and Loyalty. What year was that? When did you do that? 2010.
Yeah.
So was it 2017 where you guys went on a break, or was it sooner than that?
We had 2 breaks really. Like after Passion, Pain and Loyalty. At that point, I'd kind of moved back home because I'd had my son Dominic.
So you did you have him in Manchester then come back here, or you came back here?
We came back to have him.
You wanted to sort of raise him here, set up
family,
here,
and then became a teacher and started a normal life kind of thing.
So at that point, did you kind of?
I was checking out at that point. Yeah.
You knew within yourself you'd reached a point with it.
You probably wanted to keep going, didn't you?
Yeah.
But it's kind of me, just like I felt like after Passion Pain Loyalty didn't kind of blow up. I thought, well, I'm not going to top that. So what do we do now? And then we had a final ever gig, 2011 at the Beachcomber, which was just a mental gig, really. I mean, there's footage of it on. It's just crazy.
This lad called Steve, right? He fell over in the mosh pit, right? And he was on all fours, and this fucking people's booting him. This bouncer was scragging him around, going, "Get up!" Or was it something like that?
Yeah, really injured his ankle, didn't he?
It snapped. It snapped his shin clean, absolute clean. But that gig was just, I hated it because it was just uncontrollable.
It was
messy,
out of order.
Everything was just uncontrollable.
I mean, they're out of hand now, your gigs.
Yeah.
But I can imagine like Orphan Boy's clientele, in the prime, 10, 12, 13 years ago.
The crowds were just bonkers, and that's what made me think there's something in the music that's worth pursuing, because people were just buzzing for it. Do you know what I mean? And it's almost like I felt like at times the music was bigger than the venue. It's like the venue was bursting with the kind of electricity of the gig, especially the gigs in Manchester and Cleethorpes, but even in places like Scunthorpe, or if we go up to Scotland.
You fill Cafe Indy up when you play there, don't you? You fill Cafe Indy up when you're there, don't you?
Yeah, we have done a few times, looking back at that Beachcomber gig, it makes me wonder now, I think about, it looks like it's all, at a bit of a peak there, so it was a bit of a daft thing to end it at that point, but... Back at the time, back then, I just didn't have the time. I had a baby, and then another one on the way a year or so after that. So I just wasn't able to do it.
Sounds like it got a bit like work for you, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it does.
And I feel like I have to check myself sometimes and go, this is getting a bit too.
Well, you guys do a lot of gigs, don't you?
It becomes a chore.
Yeah, we have done a lot. Yeah. But it's kind of sometimes you're only talking to sort something out. You're meeting up and rehearsing, and you're not hanging out with each other. Do you know what? And it's
it comes quite
in the
clinical.
end, you get to I think I need to put the fun back in it. Do you know what I mean? It sounds like you kind of lost the fun. You was you was grinding, but you weren't getting that return you wanted.
I'd say we had a fun. I'd say we had a fun in the Manchester days. That I could, you couldn't get any wilder than that for me. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It was
Yeah, it was a good laugh,
really good,
what's the wildest story you've got from the Manchester days?
You're a teacher now, Rob, aren't you?
Yeah,
you can't really go into it.
Room for this one.
Rob on there for this one, though, wasn't he, Smith?
No, he wasn't actually there. I'll tell you one good one. Right? It was me and Chrissy Day in this hotel room.
And any story that starts with me and Chrissy Day was in this hotel room, you're going to get cancelled.
Honest to God, right? And there was this big tall mirror about that, and I was just sat there I'm not going to go into detail, and then I looked round and fucking Chrissy Day stood there bollock naked, absolute nothing on, right, looked like a water bomb, body all over the shop, and I went, what the fuck are you doing? He went, taking a picture. I went, yeah, obviously, what are you doing it for? He went, our manager at the time, Ronnie Lee, he'd not long managed us, he went, going to send it to Ronnie Lee. I went, fucking hell. I went down. And he'd sent his picture of him and nothing on. Didn't realise he'd done it. And then Ronnie found it quite funny, didn't he? Started printing all these pictures, T-shirts with Chrissy naked on it, and he's going fucking ballistic. He was like, oh my God. But that's timid. But yeah, wild times, just staying up for days, I
just remember us having lots of car trouble. Do you know what I mean? A lot of my stories are just logistical problems, nightmares, and things like.
I mean, that one in London.
Well, we lost the keys
in London. Tell her that's fucking.
We did a gig in London just before Christmas.
Can you remember where at?
It was at Metro Bar on Oxford Street. Yeah. And just before we went on stage, Chris went because Chris was driving. He went, "Oh, I've lost my car keys. Don't know where they are." I was like, "All right, okay." And then I remember all the way through the gig, I was thinking, this is a bit of a problem. Just played it
trying to perform.
And it was it was pretty bad weather as well. It's
like
-3 or 4.
Miles away from.
Now, Chris had a Fiesta and I had a Fiesta. So my Fiesta key actually got in his car, opened the door, but it wouldn't start the ignition. So we could get in the car and we just squashed in the back of this Fiesta. Like, it was so cold, couldn't get the heating on or anything. We were just like cuddling each other all night, just like for warmth. Do you know what I mean? I remember going 6 a.m. Like went to McDonald's. We went to McDonald's and I was like early stages of hypothermia. Underneath the blower in the toilet, just trying to warm myself up. And then how do we get home?
The RAC, we managed to get a locksmith.
Yeah.
He came out,
charged a fortune.
Fucking charged a fortune.
It was parked on Soho Square, like right in the middle of London. The traffic warden was going round and round. What are you guys doing here?
Yeah. You're still here? I was like, yeah, we lost the car keys. Well, you're in the car. I was like, we know, fuck off.
Did he ever find the keys?
Oh no, listen to this. The uncanniness of this. This is like a million to one, right? So anyway, 2 years later, a year later, we did a gig at the Metro Bar, and this bouncer went, "Are these your car keys, mate?" No shit, honestly. He was like, "You're fucking kidding me." All that time, and he must have had them in his pocket. He must have thought, these three.
I bet he was locking up, watching you lot sat in the car like.
Oh, honestly, it was horrible. All the way home, that window, there's no heating in the car, was there, as well?
No, yeah.
It was absolutely bolted. But yeah, even like we did this tour of like Scotland, and that was just all the way to Aberdeen.
Yeah.
It was good, but Aberdeen was the last gig, and we had to drive home from there, and it was absolutely horrific, wasn't it?
Yeah, Healer played Inverness last year.
Yeah,
he played Belladrum Festival.
Yeah.
Well, you know, obviously with being so far away, I was like, I'm gonna drive up there with the missus, but we like went up a couple of days before and like camped on a lock and that, you know. Yeah, had a really nice time. But I totaled my car a few weeks before that. A day after Docksfest, I on the Friday of Docksfest weekend, we'd supported The View in Lincoln.
Yeah.
And I was driving back from supporting The View and my car broke down on the A46 near Lincoln, near Nettleham. I was like, fuck. So I got Kate to pick me up. Next day was Docksfest, steaming all fucking day. Sunday I thought, best go get this car off the side of the road. So went to go get it, ended up totaling it, smashing it up, complete write-off. Yeah.
My God.
So got paid out and bought this Fiat Punto for £1,000.
Yeah.
Thought, see what happens. And they drove it to Inverness the same week. Literally got it. And I even told the bloke I was getting off, I was like, I best be all right, I'm taking it to Inverness this week. He was like... But it's sound. It's been all right since. So.
Is that it outside?
Yeah, that's the one outside. We're going strong. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, mate. Back to
I mean, it's the same. Like, the amount of miles you do on the road, stuff like that just happens all the time. Like
that Fiesta was balmy, wasn't it?
We always had crap cars as well. We never even had a van. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was literally like in the pop song lyrics, an uninsured old Ford driving up to Glasgow.
That Ford car, right? I can always.
Granny's car, yeah.
Is it the maroon one? And you went, I bought it off you for fucking £100 or something. Yeah.
Escort,
Anyway, this Escort, absolutely, it's like a banger. I bought it off him. One morning I come down the car park, I was like, where is it? Out of all the smart cars in this car park, that got nicked. And it got used in a ram raid.
Really?
Yeah, straight up on a Jeweller's in Wythenshawe.
You got a phone call as we were going to a gig in France.
Yeah.
Had the police saying, we found your car.
Yeah.
It's, can you come and get it? The engine's still running.
Yeah.
The engine's still running.
Found a dartboard in the back of it. It's mine, mate. Oh, God.
Found a dartboard
just random, like,
in 2 Scousers.
Yeah, Porsches and stuff like that. And it was like, the Escort got nicked and used in the robbery.
We were just really like slapdash and ramshackle all the time. Like on stage, our equipment was rubbish. I remember, we liked being like that. Like
that one at the dry bar. So did you spill a pint and they knocked a pint onto the keyboard? Honestly, and it just went fucking into like what
Shanghai mode.
And it's doing Shanghai, and it's just going for ages, going din, 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 din. Everyone was looking at us, going, "Was like, we don't know how to stop it." It's like fucking hell.
I remember we were like asked to do something for Man City. When football teams would get bands to kind of do a bit of promo for them.
Yeah,
and it was a bit of a corporate thing. So we were asked to do a gig for Man City in the middle of Market Street in Manchester. Let's set up a little stage. So people were shopping like Saturday afternoon. And there's like a Man City banner and everything. And we just said, we'll do it. It might be good to get in with them and get some free stuff or whatever. I don't know. But we just rocked up like we had a keyboard. And I was like, no keyboard stand. So I'm just going to take an ironing board. Because I just thought it would be funny and a bit like quirky to be having a keyboard on an ironing board. And I just remember we got there and the guy was like, "You're not taking an ironing board on stage." You know, like we just didn't get it. Do you know what I mean? This is like a serious corporate kind of. It's meant to look cool, and we're there being just idiots. Do you know what I mean?
Like pulling up to gigs and stuff like that, and just people like seeing us pulling up in a Fiesta, like, thought you'd have a tour bus.
Yeah,
like, fucking hell, this is us.
That's what you used to tell everyone that we all had our own tour bus. Back home, people thought we were like dead famous.
Oh yeah, you come back home and people were like, honest to God, like people probably wanted to know you and stuff like that. They thought we was in Manchester, we was famous. It fucking wasn't at all.
he was in the basement there.
Yeah. I was 25 for about 5 years. Fucking hell. Telegraph used to just print Paul Smith 25 years ago. Fucking hell, he's been 25 for the last fucking 5 years. But yeah, it was absolutely scatty. You know, just pure mental. Like, it'd make a really good story. It's like, it reminded me a bit like, you ever seen Anvil? The
heavy
documentary on Anvil. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh, no, I haven't now. Yeah. I haven't now.
It reminds me a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're on a bigger scale, like, but it was, you know, the chaoticness and...
Well, just the Anvil are like this. They're in the 40s, but they're still going, and they're just like living normal lives and trying to be an heavy metal band on the side. And they've been going for years and years. And back in the day, they were on festivals with big bands and stuff, but it never really happened.
It was between them and Metallica. No, they was deemed to be the big band. Universal Records and everyone wanted them.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden, Metallica come on the scene. Stole the thunder, and then it all went downhill from it. The lead singer was like, he was delivering meals on wheels and that kind of thing, and it just, the story is absolutely brilliant. And then the last pitch of the thing, it shows them just playing to this massive crowd in somewhere like Japan, isn't it? There's about thousands there, and it's good. But yeah, it kind of like the story of that reminds me of us in a little way. Do you know what I mean? How it's sort of like you get these promises, and you at first you're disheartened, but then you get used to being disheartened quite a lot, and it's like it becomes the norm. Like we had with the Ellen DeGeneres show, we got sent this contract. We was on this CD, complimentary CD in America on this magazine, and the producer of someone at the Ellen DeGeneres show, which is you know,
massive over there.
They were going to use Pop Song.
Yeah, use Pop Song as a needle clip.
Yeah.
So basically, what it was for every 10 seconds of this needle clip got played. So, ladies and gentlemen, David Beckham, he walked onto it. It was $2,600. So we're thinking, fucking hell, this goes on for like 365.
I just remember watching the Ellen show a lot, just to see it.
And it was like this massive thing, like, you know, we had to sign all these contracts with like the Halfway House and all. And it was like, fucking hell, this is it. This is our big moment, America.
We thought it had arrived in the strangest way possible.
That's what it was. It was just... it didn't go any further than that. You're like, fucking hell.
Didn't get used.
Didn't it? Oh, no. Didn't not one bit. Absolutely. But it's these kind of things. And it was like that... what was that? What it called? Notting Hill Publishers, where we and Mike Con... We had a bit of a... they was interested in us. And they had like a lot of the roster.
We had a lot of like just kind of flirting with publishers and other management. We stayed with Mike and Sarah the whole time, and then Ronnie Lee joined in like the second phase of the band, which is after we did our last gig and just called it a day. We moved back home, and then a year later we started up again.
Is that when Sam came on board?
Yeah, not long after that we got Sam in because we thought.
So when just to get a bit of an idea, so when after you broke up after Passion, Pain and Loyalty, did you then go, oh, we should get back together and do Coastal Tones, or was it?
I think
it just like, oh, we're all missing it, let's get the band back together? Or
did you write a lot of the songs? I can remember you telling me you wrote quite a lot of the songs. Was it Passion, Pain or Coastal at the?
Oh, Hasty Lane.
Hasty Lane, yeah.
Yeah, I did a few there, because obviously I mentioned a place called Hasty Lane.
It's in quite a lot of songs, isn't it? Yeah.
That was more Passion, Pain, Loyalty. It's just like a little lay-by. I was staying at a place in Altrincham for a while, and there's a little lay-by on the way to work called Hasty Lane, and that's where I used to park up and practice singing and writing songs for a bit. So that was that. But yeah, so that was Passion, Pain and Loyalty. But then going forward to the next phase... We got the Enemy Sport, didn't we? That's why we reformed, basically. I was kind of done with it, and then Chris was he just wanted to keep going, and he was like, any little bit of attention on social media, he would make a big fuss of it. And then finally, like Tom Clark from The Enemy had said something about us, like gave us a bit of praise online, and Chris contacted him, got us a gig with them. So then I was like, okay, well,
cheers, Chris.
We'll have to get back together then.
Thanks, mate.
But it was a great gig. Do you know what I mean? And we did a few gigs with them, and they were just really, good lads. And
they took us on their farewell tour. And
who else was on that? Was Twisted Rail on that?
No.
It was, I can't remember who it was.
Just various bands, wasn't it? Yeah. We did about 6 or 7 gigs with them over the course of a couple of years.
Yeah.
Did Baby Shambles tour with them?
We did a few with Baby Shambles, yeah. Just thinking about The Enemy as well. It's what I was mentioning earlier about leaning into that working class image that Tom Clark does so well. Like, I remember being backstage, and The Enemy's music is very like in your face, kind of raucous indie, isn't it? So he's got a very much, that's his kind of crowd, and very working class crowd, and he's not like that. What he's like on stage is different, isn't it? He's quiet.
Yeah.
I remember he was playing like Bohemian Rhapsody on the piano, and he's very like articulate, and and then he gets out there, and he's like Liam Gallagher.
Fucking totally different man.
Have it. Do you know what I mean? He plays that part really well. Like he knows his audience, and he leans into it, and he gets.
He's quiet. He's really, really quiet, isn't he? He's like, quiet.
He's about that big as well, isn't he?
Yeah. I can remember we was after the Manchester Academy gig, and he's like, he went, Smith, you just have a look out that window a minute and see how many people's outside. I was like, 5. I went, why? And he's like, right, we need to get a taxi fucking sorted so I can get in it. And he had a little bit of an issue. I think he had a bit of anxiety. Yeah. And then we did a gig in Stockton, and I can remember yarning to him there, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not going to come watch you because of the crowd situation."
Yeah, I can imagine that would affect some people, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
because we get it a bit with our crowd. We say it when we do the Yardbirds, like, I'm not going out there because people will just talk to you constantly, and we don't want to be rude, but you get kind of mithered a lot, and
I think where possible as well, it's better for yourself if you've got somewhere to disconnect.
Yeah.
And your first sort of introduction to the crowd is when you go out, innit? If you've got the opportunity, then it's better.
I think it is
better to do that,
professional, doesn't it?
Not just that as well, but you can get yourself in a zone, don't you? And that's some of the funnest times being in a band, isn't it? When you're all like getting revved up, and you're having a couple of tinners, and you're getting warmed up.
I need the toilet really bad.
Yeah, that's fine, mate. Pop to low.
Yeah,
it's like me and Rob will keep it going.
Oh, you're going to carry on?
Yeah, we'll carry on, mate. Why not? Yeah, come on.
I'll tell you what really happened. Not going to get lost here. Not going to get lost.
Loads of characters out Scooby-Doo.
You'll be all right, mate. You know where it is.
I'm not for a shit, by the way.
I'm going to get into the weeds about coastal tones for a bit anyway. So
yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to get lost, isn't he?
So now Smith is taking a pit stop. So yeah, coastal tones. How did that come about then? You said some of was it Hasty Lane?
Yeah,
had some of its inception at Hasty Lane.
Writing it at the time, I don't remember them writing them before. I remember like having a lot of bits of stuff that didn't get finished, and then when we reformed, we came back to it. It was just the three of us to begin with, and I remember I just remember really wanting some saxophone on a few songs. I just think saxophone sounds great. And I mentioned the Accord album, didn't I, earlier?
Yeah.
So their first album has a great song on it called The Assembly. And I remember saying to Sam Simmons, who plays the saxophone on that? And he's like, Sam Carlton. I was like, who's Sam Carlton? He's like, he recorded the album. Right, okay.
Sam's very talented, isn't he?
Yeah.
Multi-instrumentalist, great producer.
Virtuoso, and he just does all sorts. And so I kind of like strategically groomed him a little bit. I thought, right, let's get him to do some live recordings for us, because just some demos. Let's get him to do some demos, and then we'll just kind of feel him out, sound him out, and see what he's like. So we did that, and then he kind of, he's just very easy going, easy to get on with. So he kind of fitted in well. So then we asked him, do you want to join as a fourth member? Because we just needed to expand the sound a bit. We were doing songs that were very hard to do as a three-piece. Like, I couldn't really play the keyboard, for example, not very well. So I was playing the pop song riff and singing all those lyrics, and it was just difficult. We couldn't make it sound big enough like it does on the record. So we needed the fourth member in, and Sam could take, he could do all the jobs we needed to, add that bit of musical savvy to what we were doing, and he could record us as well, which made it a lot easier.
He recorded the full album.
He did, yeah. I mean, we did it very much like bits and bobs in different locations, but obviously he was the one at the helm for the duration, and we just had a bit more of an idea of what we wanted it to sound like. So more than the other two albums, it feels like a whole piece. It's got a vibe to it. It's got kind of I guess it's very much an album about, because we all lived back home at that point.
I was just going to get onto that. It's very, for me, that album, it's very nostalgic of where we're from.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you've managed to capture that, because I listened to it the other day. I've not had the album on in a while. But listening to it, it's quintessentially Cleethorpes and Grimsby, isn't it?
Yeah, you think?
I genuinely do. And I don't know if that's just because I know you guys, and maybe the album name kind of gives it that hint as well. But
to me, it's like, I like songs that have like a melancholy feel to them, and I try to capture that. I think we had a song on Passion, Pain, Loyalty called Harbour Lights, which was like the blueprint for Coastal Tones, really. Yeah. So what that song sounds like is what the whole Coastal Tones album ended up sounding like for me. And there was just a lot more focus with that than with the other records, which were lots of different styles mixed in. So we were really pleased with it. And by that point, I think this was like 2015, we weren't really expecting to make it at that point, because we were too old to be considered by the industry then, and we had normal jobs and families and stuff like that, so it just wasn't going to be feasible to go and do a European tour or something like that. So I don't know, you kind of have like two voices in your head, one telling you that, the realistic voice, and then another one saying, but maybe, what if this happens? You never know, kind of thing. And it's almost like a little bit of a religion in a way, like, if you think about it, it's probably not possible, but it's more fun to think the other way. It's more fun to believe in the story, and that kind of keeps you going. I mean, we would, even if it was impossible for us to be successful, we would probably just do it anyway, because we enjoy making the music. But there is always a chance that something unbelievable could happen, and it could fall in the right person's hands at the right time, or it could blow up online or something.
You just never know, do you?
Never know.
You just never know, and you'll never get presented the opportunity unless you're consistent.
Yeah.
But like you said, as long as it brings you happiness and you find it fulfilling, then you've made it, haven't you? Well,
that's the thing.
That's the way I see it anyway. If nothing ever came of it, I've had a fucking blast doing it.
I think a lot of bands and artists and creatives need to appreciate that more. I mean, I don't know what it's like to be,
he's back now.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
I'll be honest, Smithy, I'm disgusted, mate, what he's just told me. Sorry, mate, carry on.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's for me, like, making the music is the most enjoyable bit. Like the way we work, I know, like, I write a lot of the songs, the lyrics and that, but it's dead collaborative. We'll often, like, Smithy and Chris will jam something out, like they'll have a little bass and drum beat that they play around, and I'm like, oh, okay, let me put something to that, and then we'll record it on our phones, take it away, listen to it, share it, come up with ideas. We'll all chip in with ideas, and obviously Sam as well. So yeah, that's for me, that's the best bit of it. Seeing the music happen and seeing it appear out of nothing.
Sam was a massive influence, and he's like, he brought a lot to the table. Play a saxophone, he can play out, can't he?
And the thing about Sam is, for someone who can play all sorts, he wants to be. If you just said to him, right, just press that key, hold that key down for the entire song, he'd be all right with that. He's fine. He's like, that means I can get pissed now while I play. It must just be like so easy for him to play our stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the songs you just literally just playing the same chord all the way through. It's that simple.
Yeah, he is a great guitarist as well. He can just shred.
Yeah.
His brother is as well. You met his brother Adam.
I have met his brother. Not for a long time.
Brother's a talented musician as well. Yeah. Well, he was when I was younger. I don't know if he keeps it up anymore. Or not seen him in years. Probably 10 years or so.
I can remember watching Sam. There was at the Spider's Web, and he did a cover of a song. I can't remember what it was, and it wasn't good. And afterwards, as soon as he finished the song, he went on the mic. He went, "Fucking hell, that was shit, wasn't it?" I can't remember what it was. Oh, it's to you, Mrs. Robinson. Yeah.
Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah. But no, he's like a bit of a breath of fresh air to have, come along with us.
Yeah, reinvigorating as well, isn't it? Like,
it just kind of smooths out our sound a bit, and like there's a lot of like our sound was quite angular at the start, and now it's a bit more. I don't know. It's a bit more fuller, a bit more commercial, maybe a bit more
matured.
Anthemic. Yeah,
matured. Yeah,
a bit more layered.
But he don't like playing the sax, does he?
He hates it. He hates playing the saxophone.
How do you get to that point where you fucking can play an instrument fluently, but you don't want it? Do you know what I mean?
Like I said, I think he just finds it hard work, and he just wants to be chilling out and not have to worry about
I
stuff.
see. Yeah, he wants an easy ride.
Yeah, basically.
You should be a singer then. They've got the fucking easiest ride, haven't they? So has Orphan Boy got anything planned for the future? Or I know you've got this festival on the 24th of August, haven't you?
Yeah.
Cleethorpes Cricket Club.
So yeah, I'd like to maybe come on again at some point and talk about that. I mean,
yeah.
I think I've got really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a big event for the town.
Definitely, mate.
I mean, we want to play Docks again at some point, because those Docks gigs, those reunion gigs we did a couple of years ago were brilliant.
Yeah.
We've done the Yardbirds last 3 years and sold that out, and I don't know, we'll probably play there again at some point.
How was the most recent one? 28th of December, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's good, really good.
Kid Spirit and
Last of the Wonder Kids.
Yeah. How was that? Was it good?
Yeah, it's good.
Really
They're always
good,
really good there.
Yeah. Well, I was at the one before, wasn't I? Obviously, Healer was on. Yeah,
that's the first proper time I've watched them fully, and really, really good.
Yeah, got a cool vibe, haven't they?
Yeah. Guitarist Sam is good character. Him, yeah, he's got.
Yeah, he plays with Zach as well.
Yeah, he's fucking brilliant musician, isn't he?
Yeah, Mint are coming on to do the gig later on in the year, so they'll probably come on and do. I imagine him and Sam will come on. Zach and Sam will come on, and there are a pair of characters out there.
Yeah. Good, like I say, it's like Mint, absolute brilliant songs. Yeah. Really, really big.
Great musicians. Yeah, well.
Great musicians.
I mean, there's so many good bands in Grimsby at the minute. I mean,
I can always remember Zach when I worked in clothes shop, and Zach come in. He used to pop in and yarn to me all the time, and he's a really young kid. He's after advice, and I was just stick at it, mate.
Yeah,
he did. You know what I mean? I was quite proud of what he did. Because he's developed from this young kid into this band. What for me was making brilliant songs. You know what I mean?
He was the bassist in my first ever band.
Yeah,
I think we was 15 and he was 13 or something.
Yeah.
Tiny.
It's good though, like I say, because from a small town, you see a lot of people, interlink into other bands.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's good that there's, people have, I mean, Sam Simmons has even played in our band, doesn't he?
It's getting to the point now where every fucking band in town is like the Travelling Wilburys, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
That's what I was saying earlier. We should do a massive live aid,
it's just like one big family, and it's Grimsby is a bit of an island from the rest of the country. I think I've said this before in an interview, but because there's no big city nearby that's sucking all the nightlife out.
Yeah, we're not a satellite, are we?
Yeah, we just have to stick around and make a scene here. But the flip side of that is people don't pay much attention to what's going on in Grimsby, which is a shame, because there's been some great bands down the years.
For me now, it's I think it had a little bit of a lull, and now it's it's really strong. Lancey Shells, the Kid Spirit, Last of the Wonder Kids.
It died a death for a good 10 years or so, didn't it?
Yeah.
But everyone's got back into it now.
Yeah.
Probably touch on that. Every episode I do, everyone's it's popping off now. You know?
And even say Leon Blanchard, he's now coming back.
Yeah.
It's Kid Spirit of, It's good to see, sort of thing, I
wish there was a few more.
The older bands are still there.
Younger bands. I mean, I know you've got Ever and Revivalry, Elson, obviously, young, but there isn't the same appetite for it in that generation. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just maybe music's just not as important to people as it was to us. Back
but
in the day,
look at the state of. Today's music, there's no guitar bands out, is there? Weekend, I can't even name one song, but that's your kind of big guitar band at the moment, isn't it?
I guess it's been done a lot though, isn't it? That's the thing. It's hard to do.
It'll come back around though, won't it? It'll come full circle. I'll be honest, I think we're on the precipice of something at the minute. I feel like more guitar music is gaining more traction. Like bands like Lottery Winners getting a number one last year, things like that.
Ages,
There is, and I don't know whether it's just like there's enough to go around for everyone, but it does seem like there is something genuinely there for guitar music at the minute. Like there's no shortage of gigs happening.
Because I mean, for me, music at the minute, like what you say, I don't really like listen to much of it, but it's shit. There's nothing there. It's like there's no.
It's hard to say though, isn't it? Because there's so much music out there. I mean, there's probably brilliant stuff that we're not aware of that we could just get on a phone right now and have listened to it if we only knew about it.
Yeah.
Do you know what the scene is at the minute? These like lads what are coming out of prison and then they're just turning into like artists. They're inside writing, It's like quite a few, like
that's the same
Jordan, prison rappers,
like
Jordan,
like
McCann,
drill and
Mazza.
stuff.
I
don't know any of them people you've just mentioned, mate.
This is just solely. This is like when you just.
I think it's just your feed, Smith.
Yeah.
But no, it's like you tend to sort of like evolve into. You'll see something and you go, wow, and it sort of like pings your interest, and then you start noticing all these things like it's just, I don't know, it just seems to be a bit of a scene at the minute, like people coming out of prison and turning into...
Maybe that's what healing need to do, though. We all need to get banged up.
Do something, and then,
We've got a gig in Hull next month. I reckon we'll just kick off.
There's no such thing as bad publicity.
It's at the New Adelphi set. It's pretty smashed up already.
Is that where you're playing?
Playing New... Yeah, great
really
place.
Good.
There's
not changed either.
No, yeah, there's an all-dayer on. I think the Rosa Docs are headlining it.
Yeah.
They're doing all right. I think Revival are on it as well.
Yeah. That's one of our, when we played the Adelphi, that was one of our first... that
was like our fourth gig or something.
It was our first gig out of town, wasn't it?
It was. We made a demo of it, didn't we, which still got, and that was the demo that we just kind of like gave to everyone when we got to Manchester.
Send us that. I've not heard that.
Well,
Send us
that.
It's
good when you listen. We did Boots. We did a cover of Boots, didn't we?
It's good, but it's rough. Do you know what I mean? It sounds really live. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
I say recently, it's probably a couple of years ago, my dad was like, I've got some random CDs of yours here. And he gave me them, and one of them was like the session files from the first ever EP I recorded, first ever band. Yeah. It's called The Allies. Yeah. It was me, Josh Pearson, and three others,
But it's ace fan and stuff like that, isn't it?
One of the songs, it's called The Filth, and it's about the police. Bear in mind, we're all like, we're all dead young and that. So, about running away from the police and stuff. And Rob Bywater recorded this EP.
Yeah.
And it's, for me, that was the first time I'd ever recorded anything. I'd never recorded a fucking thing, and then got in and recorded this EP. We recorded it on the docks at the the old room, on the crossroads here.
Barry's place.
Upstairs.
Barry.
Well, I don't know Barry, but Simon Millwood used to sort of run it, didn't he? Yeah.
Millers,
Yeah, we used to rehearse there for a while.
Yeah. No, we were so bad on this EP that the only way Rob could save it is by putting heavy reverb over every channel. So it sounds like you're listening to the song underwater. But I remember at the time we was fucking buzzing with that. Our first body of work, It was a load of shit.
I've got it burned onto a DVD actually. But it was me, Chrissy Day, and Ams was in the band called Tokyo Joe's 88, and we played at
what?
Tokyo Joe's 88.
Tokyo Joe's 88.
Yeah. We used to have there was a nightclub.
That's like my fucking password at work, mate.
That's what it is. It's a fucking. But there was a nightclub called Tokyo Joe's just under the flyover, which is now I think it's the food kitchen.
Oh right,
and that used to be a nightclub called Tokyo Joe's. I used to hear all these stories about like the older kids who used to hang around with us used to go. They used to have like Prodigy played there and Cal Cox and all these DJs and. And I was like, 88 was a bit of an era for like, when you was hearing all this stuff. So I was like, Tokyo Joe's 88. And, it's funny to listen to. But we did like all like covers, like the Jam. I was massively into the Jam. Did the Verve, Sonnet, had some of our own songs. But like you say, watching that, you're like, fucking hell, yeah. I was dead awkward playing the guitar, like, I was that nervous, I was on the side like that, just didn't move all day, just like, all gig just doing it like that, but, yeah, it's a buzz, isn't it? Do you know, I'd love to be young again and doing it all,
have another run at it, with all the knowledge you've got, and,
God,
you know what I mean, and having that foresight of, like, if I get into this, it's going to be fucking amazing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, because if you did it with the wisdom of old age, you probably wouldn't do it in the same way. You'd probably miss out on a lot of crazy stuff that you would have done simply because you don't know what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You probably wouldn't. Like when about the London gigs earlier, finishing work at 3, driving to London, hoping that so and so from Banana Records is going to turn up, like getting paid 50 quid and driving back. You'd only do that if you were young and stupid. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
If your frontal lobe wasn't developed.
Yeah, that's right.
Best one was where we played. It was that was that Rhythm Factory when was it Lamaka or I don't know. Anyway, and the guy who put the gig on, he was like, I could see him going round the bucket. He was going, "Come on, we need to get some change for the support bands," and he gave us like fucking 12 quid or something like that. It was like, that's not gonna. And there was this poor bloke lad stood there who played guitar amp. And he was having to get the bus. Was like, "Yeah, mate, here's the money. Go get yourself a taxi or something like that." It's like, "Oh, nice one, cheers."
That's what I mean. There's no money in it. So I think sometimes you have to just be in it for like the right reasons. And I think almost the fact that there's less money in music now could be a good thing because it's gonna whittle down the people that are really passionate about doing it. People that would just do it anyway, even if they know there's going to be no like pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like. When I was playing in bands before, when I was younger, I didn't make nothing, pennies. I think the most I ever earned once was I got Rob Bywater was playing the county and I played guitar on a few of his songs and he gave me like 100 quid. I couldn't believe it, you know. But I was like 16, I was like, I played half the world away for this, you know. But then now, this time round, I don't know if it's fluke, but we seem to be doing all right in terms of money.
Yeah.
We seem to get some all right bookings.
You guys have got a good fan base, haven't you? So that's
it seems to be doing all right in terms of, there's not, I mean, we've put out quite a bit of music, done quite a few music videos and things like that, and we've not really had to reach into our own pockets much for that, which is bad going.
If you could sell fun, that's what you can ask for, really.
Yeah.
I think, like I say, gigs, the money nowadays is, like I say, I've always in my head thought record labels was the nothing. Do you know what I mean? You don't earn money off them. Publishing deals, yes. Yeah. They're your big ones. I mean, even from Buddy Manchester, I can't remember his name, he got his one of his songs on a Coca-Cola advert and he fucking ate like $1 million quid off it, and that was him.
It's like a lottery, innit? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I do think as well sometimes that if we'd have got a bit further, maybe got to the league above, we would have been not in a worse situation because we would have been like doing that as our job. But for most musicians who do it as their job, they just are eking a living out. Do you know what I mean? Barely scraping by. So hard to do it. They'd have to, you have to gig, tour constantly.
Yeah.
And it's not, mate. It's perhaps not the nice lifestyle that you think it would.
It's energetic, like
it's tiring.
It's tiring, yeah. I mean, I look at like the likes of like your Mick Jaggers and fucking hell, they doing them tours.
They get to a level though where everything's taken care of. Where I don't.
Yeah, they got guitarists behind like. Yeah, the actual thing.
Yeah, they're not dragging a fucking amp from the top floor of Central Hall just to get it in the back of your Punto. Yeah, it's worth it though, isn't it?
Yeah. Honestly, I'd never look back and go, fucking hell, what? That to me is like it's been a journey, and I've always said it'd make a brilliant book. There's stories, there's a lot of stories there. What
well, if there's any publishers listening and you want to publish the story of Paul Smith,
that bloke, he was into sort of like crime writing, and he contacted us. This is honestly,
this rings a bell actually.
He was a big meathead, and he got into us, and he was like, "I really want to write a book on you lads." And I was looking at his like back catalogue, and I was thinking, he's like writing about the craze and stuff like that. What's he want to write about us for?
Because he met Chrissy, mate.
There's a book on its own.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, yeah. If we had been doing this full time, if we had made it, Chrissy Day would be dead now. 100%. He won't be alive.
Keith Moon 2.0. Yeah. Right, lads. We'll wrap it up there.
Yeah, spot on, mate.
Had a good time, but yeah, we'll definitely get you back on in the future. But 24th August, Cleethorpes Cricket Club, Orphan Boy headlining.
Yeah, well, it's not been announced yet, so I don't know whether I should say too much about it.
Let's have an announcement.
Well, when are you announcing it? Because this will be out
end of February. Is the plan.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we can talk about it because this will come out similar time.
Yeah, cool. Well, Orphan Boy, Healer, Shines, Ever, Mint, Sam Simmons, loads of bands. Like all the
Yeah.
Not all the bands.
Logo and the
if I
Cosmic
could get
Getaway.
everyone on, I would, but not everyone's been able to do it. But it's going to be an absolute
They're
bonanza.
good out there, Lola and the Cosmic Getaway.
Lola Cosmic
Really good, yeah.
Really good, yeah.
Yeah, really, really good.
That's what I'm saying. The bands around here, yeah, you can't knock any of them. It's just like fucking really, it's good, really good scene.
Good to see.
And then
innit?
you're going to get my little techno thing coming along.
Tokyo Joe's 89.
It's
Is
called
this Tokyo Joe's 25?
Listen to this. It's called Marry Me.
Is it?
You know, I've got this like little vision of what I want to do this year. Like I say, this last call Tory, had a jam with her. She, you know, really knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
So I don't know how we're going to do it, but
That's
I'm going to
start.
fathom something out. I've got a lot of equipment, So to see what happens.
Cables,
Yeah, cables, 4-way plugs, yeah.
sockets.
Well, if we're plugging our side projects, Shines are also releasing.
You're not allowed to
in
do
the next
that.
3 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, next 3 months, should I say?
Oh, good. What, another
Really?
album or single?
About half an album we've got, but no, half an album with another few songs to make up the full one that we're working on.
Yeah.
So yeah,
When can people expect that?
that's probably going to be end of March, early April time. Start putting new stuff out. So yeah, watch this space.
Nice one, mate. Well, you're more than welcome to
Dave.
come on and plug whatever you got going on.
Cheers, thanks for having us.
Spot on.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
what you're doing here.
And if you like what you've heard today, hit like and subscribe.